Hello friends and Sejati. Today we are going to be explaining about the two topics here, generalized orthogonal series and so the definition of the orthogonal series is that this so here's basically the definition of the orthogonal series is that it's saying that we can approximate fx with this m equals 0 am ym with the summation of am times yfx like this, where am is constant, ymx is an orthogonal functions, orthonormal, can be orthonormal, can be orthogonal functions. So fx must be a piecewise function, piecewise from let's say interval continuous piecewise, and it has an interval, let's say from a to b. So that's what this theory is saying. What is the example of this generalized orthogonal series? This form. Example. Later we discuss lah ya. So it has a property which is the orthogonality. So basically, we can prove the orthogonality of the general orthogonal series by the graph from A to B, since the function has an interval of ynx, ymx. Dx is a weight function. This is usually 1. Dx equals this notation is Kronecker, which means that if n let me find it, n m, if n is not equals to m, then it is 0. If n equals to m, it is 1. So it's basically just dot product. This is, let's say this is orthonormal. If it's the same, it is 1. If it's not the same, it is 0. Understand? Okay. You want to add something? Okay. So here's the
X is usually positive number. It can be other number than 1, but it needs to be more than 0. But usually, most commonly, px is 1.
So the example of generalized orthogonal series is actually the Fourier series that we have learned. Note that Fourier series has also the orthogonality property. So this is orthogonality property. So as can be seen, here's the ynx and ymx. Ynx, ymx. If it is the same, m and m equals the same, it is 1. If it's not the same, it is 0. Basically taking the dot product of orthogonal functions. And if it's not in the same function, it is also 0. So basically, that's the property of the generalized orthogonal series. It's also, so this is actually the theory is that we can approximate fx using a summation of function and constants. So this actually just to approximate the function using this. And the theory is basically saying that the magnitude, the value of this minus the summation, the approximation, is less than epsilon. So epsilon is basically denoted as a positive in mathematics ya, positive very small number. So the approximation is very good ya, quite good. Small number is okay. The theorem is saying that where fx supposed to be piecewise and continuous, so it has interval. Any questions? You guys get it? Okay, let's move on lah. So examples of orthogonal series expansion, as I've said before, Fourier series is categorized as the generalized orthogonal series because the ymx there is orthogonal using cosine sign. So we can basically rewrite the Fourier series using this, right? Like sigma ini m equals 0, a n cos nx plus bn sin nx. So this is basically saying that m equals 0. This is like am, right? Am. So this is am, a constant, times the ymx and plus an ynx. You can rewrite it like this. So it's basically that. Okay. Huh? So I'm just saying that the Fourier series is categorized as the orthogonal generalized orthogonal series. I'm just saying it like that. Okay. So Fourier series is used to approximate functions, right? In the form like this. What's the an and bn? It's just saying that it's constant plus am. Fx kanan ini. So since it is using like 2, so there will be 2 constants, functions. I'm just notation here is just to differentiate. Yeah, could be x, could be x. Yes. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yes. So like that. Okay. So move on.
Okay, before we continue, I ask a question for you. Yeah, go back again to the Fourier representation. Okay, in last week we discussed about the Fourier series. Yeah, we want to approximate a function using Fourier series. Now my question is that can we approximate or represent all piecewise to pi periodic function, using Fourier series or not? Can we do that or not?
Asking to me or
To everyone. What is the reason? Fourier?
yeah.
The answer is we can, yes, but that's not the reason.
I think my answer would be it can as long as it has an interval.
No, that's not the answer.
Oh, we can term 20. Coba.
I can ask this because this is the time to discuss about the orthogonal series.
Theorem 20 yang maju-maju. Nah, tutup. Maju ke. Is this? Are you talking about this? So this theorem is basically saying that if fx, let's say you want to approximate fx with generalized orthogonal series like Fourier series, fx cannot be orthogonal to FEYM because the answer will be 0. No.
Yeah, but that's not the answer. That's not the answer. It has to do with the orthogonality of a function. Anyone can answer? The hint is about the orthogonality. Okay, now I ask you, if we have a set of orthogonal function, be it orthogonal function or orthogonal vector, then what we can have? If you have a set of orthogonal function, then what we will have? It's a basis, correct? So because the function that we have, the cosine and sine, they are orthogonal, okay? We can form a basis from that collection of functions. Because we have a basis, then we can represent any function. You get what I mean?
Oh.
Okay, you connect again with the understanding on the basis, on the range. Okay.
So you're saying we can because we
have the basis
have
of
the basis.
orthogonal function. Uniquely represent any function using combination of the basis.
Balik lagi.
Okay. So your job is to find out what will be the constant in there, yeah, in the basis. Okay. Yeah. For example, Rafi, can you write down vector 2 by 1 vector? A, B. The element is A and B. A and B. Okay, now we have basis of 1, 0, and 0, 1. The basis that we have, another function, let's say y is equal to 0, 1 multiplied by a constant. What constant you choose? C1 plus 1, 0, C2. Okay. Yeah, the 0, 1 and 1, 0, is it the basis for R2?
Yes.
Correct? So any value of A and B that you want in the V, okay, you can always find the value for C1 and C2. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's the same thing with the Fourier series.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, you can continue.
It's basically saying this is C1, CM. Ya, basis lah. Okay, so we can also find the coefficients of Fourier series by using this formula. So every generalized orthogonal series actually has many branches. First we have Fourier, and there is also something called as Legendre, sorry if I pronounce it wrong, Legendre's equation. So it's basically saying that you can approximate fx in terms of summation to infinity starting from 0 using AE, this is a constant, times PEX. So PEX is orthogonal. Yeah. L. Mix up the notation. mixing up the notation. Yeah. And we can, so yeah, it has a complete complete property, and it also has the orthogonal property. So PL times PM, if it's L is not the same as PM, is 0. If M is the same as L, is this. So basically it's not orthonormal. It's not necessarily orthonormal, because if it's orthonormal you'll get one here. That's why it's called orthogonal series, not orthonormal series. We'll see. Huh? I think it's two. Huh? Always like this. Yeah. No, it's on it from source. So completeness, should we discuss about this or not? So it's basically a proof which is a little bit lengthy. So it's basically saying that let's list down the assumptions. Let y mx is orthonormal. And if a function is orthogonal to every ym, fx is orthogonal to every ymx, it is saying that the fx must be the norm of fx supposed to be 0. So suppose we have a like this, plus wait, let me get my notes. Yeah. Continuous piecewise function from interval a to b. Okay. So fx am ym x equals 0. Basically saying like this. Y. So if fx is orthogonal to every ymx, the norm is 0. Basically saying like this, fx equals 0. We can prove it using the Fourier series actually. Mau continue atau nggak usah? Ulang kan. So we use ini ya, the Fourier series ya. M equals 0, an cos nx n plus bn sin nx. Okay, so we know that the an and bn, it has a formula, right, which is 1/p minus pi fx cos x dx. Since it is saying that fx is orthogonal to every ymx, then this is 0, right? So if an is 0 and bn is also the same, this is ymx, because this is also ymx. So this is fx sin x, 0 also for bn. So because it is orthogonal orthogonality.
With fx and cos x.
Yeah, here orthogonal. I want to expand the theorem 20. So if ymx is orthonormal and fx is orthogonal to every ymx, then the norm of fx is 0. I want to prove it using Fourier series. By here we write the Fourier series first, and then I'm trying to find the coefficient an. Let's say since fx is, the formula is fx times, this is fx times ymx, right? This is same as ymx. Let's say it's orthogonal. We can say that it is 0. Then an is 0. Bn is also 0. Then fx supposed to be 0. So you cannot approximate a function fx that is orthogonal to every ymx. You cannot. Yeah, I mean it is, as I've said before, this is general orthogonal series, right? Fourier series is included in that. So it's basically saying that am, this is this am, this is ymx. It's just that the form is a little different. Just like mx plus c plus 0. Well, you can write as 4x plus 6, 0. Kan so that's what the theorem 20 is basically saying, completeness. Yeah. So we move on to the next slide. Which is this. This is what I was saying before, the Legendre's equation, which is gonna be explained by Michelle. Equation.
So for this problem, we need to express the function. So there's a given function fx equal to 5x cubed plus x in terms of orthogonal Legendre polynomial series over interval of -1 until 1, right? So the form of Legendre series, we can fx is the estimation of all the constant times px. So it can goes up to so many n terms. So we can recall the first three Legendre polynomial. It's usually given. So what we can do, so if there's a question like this, what we need to check first is the odd or even of the fx given function. So do you guys remember how to check odd and even functions? Okay. So to check if the function, checking if f of x is odd or even. So the given function there, it's fx equals to 5x cubed plus x, right? So to check easily, we can compare the values of fx with f negative x. So how? So if it's an even function, if it's even, then the result of f negative x, it will be in the form of positive like this. But if it's odd, f negative x will be a negative function. So let's try checking this one. Yeah. Oh, we can just use negative directly, substitute it here, and then plus negative x, right? And here we can get negative 5x cubed minus x. And this is a negative function. So we know that this equation is an odd function. So, and then what we do next is we're given the form, right? Which is the form for region A. It is a0 x plus a1 x plus a2 x. So there is a lot of functions here, and each pox, p1x, p2x is already given, and realize that for 0, the coefficient for x, there is no coefficient, so only 1. And then for p1, there's just x. For p2, there's x squared. p3, there's x cubed. And the pattern will always will go like that. And here, why we need to check for the odd or even is so that we can calculate this. See, we can find the constants, so we can cross out. So for instance here, since fx is odd, so only the coefficients for odd legendary polynomials, like for example here, the odd one is a1, p1, and a3, p3, right? This coefficient can be the non-zero. So the even functions, this one is equal to 0. So here, meaning to say a0 is equal to 0, a2 is equal to 0. Why? So since p0x is an even function, in the expansion of odd function, it will be equal to 0. And then p2x, it's also an even function. So since the function earlier is odd, so it will be equal to 0. So now, because this is 0, it left us with fx, a1, p1x, and a3, x. And here we only stop at p3 because it says here that an is equal to 0 for n more than or equal to 4. So we only compute for this one. So substituting fx is earlier, fx cubed plus x, then a1, p1x is given, which is x, and then a3, p3x is also given, 1 by 2, 5x cubed minus 3x, like this. So now we need what we are going to find is the constant a1 and a3. And to find this, we use the matching coefficient to solve for a1 and a3. So matching coefficient is like we solve for example here there's x3. So we solve for x3 here. There's 5x cubed in the left hand side, and then in the right hand side there's a3 times 1 by 2 times 5x cubed. And then we can now solve 5x cubed times 2 over 5x cubed will be equal to a3. So a3 is equal to 2. And then x3 is done. Now we look for x. For x in the in the left hand side there's only x, and then in the right hand there's a1x and also a3 times 1 by 2 times negative 3x. And we solve again. So just cross the x out, we can get 1 is equal to a1, and then a3 we already find that it's equal to 2 times 1 by 2 negative 3. So a1 will be equal to 1 plus 3. We find that A1 is equal to 4. And then here, the question, it asks for us to determine what is the sum of all the coefficients. So we know earlier that A0 is equal to 0, A2 equals 0. So A0, A1 plus A2 plus A3 is just 0 plus A1 is 4. And then A2 is 0. The sum of the coefficients is given by letter G. Any question?
So the even function will all be zero. There is even one.
Repeat it again. So we need to first determine the given fx, right? So we check if this is odd or even. So if the function is odd, we zero the even function. But
There is even one like a function in the zero.
yeah,
Then all of the even one.
one even function. In odd series,
So,
The
FX.
Yeah.
Yeah.
is so if fx is odd, then all even is the p. Said that there is a odd function for the p, right? Or the even.
fx, if fx is
Yeah.
odd,
All even even number of p. Even number of p is zero.
and then if it's even, is the other way around.
So ini kan n equals 0, 1, 2, 3. Function is odd. Function is odd. The even can easily now that determine that A0 the coefficient is odd. So we only use this one to get
To get the coefficient.
this 1 and 18. By this.
Salah.
We are trying to solve number 30. Yes.
Since we have is that why we use
Oh no, because it's written in the question. N equals 0 for n more than equal to 4. So for the rest of the function, more than 4 or equal to 4, all the coefficient will be 0, 0, 0, 0, right? Times
Okay, what's
0.
the reason? Any idea why A4, A5 is 0? Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The function.
Yes. So when you have the fourth, you have the 5x to the power of 4. Yeah.
Also x to the power of 4 we use
Before will be x to the power of 4. Yeah. Yes.
So before we use
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Have you discussed about? Can you show that these Legendre polynomials are orthogonal? How do we know if they are orthogonal?
So we do orthogonality check with the
Okay, P0, P1. How do we do that? Okay, any idea? Yeah, bonus point. How do we know that these Legendre polynomials are orthogonal? Huh?
Oh, for
Yeah.
legenders, I think the that we can determine the orthogonality.
Yes, I know that. And then now we are shown that polynomial. How do we know if that polynomial satisfies this?
Using this check.
Okay, how you check it?
minus 1, 1. Oh. Coba ya. I haven't tried this also. Minus 1, 1, PLX.
I use different color. The red one. Then can you remove the top part? Remove the top part.
Erase.
Remove, erase, delete. What else?
Yeah.
Distinguish. No. What's the best word for that?
Yeah. Nah, delete it nah. Ada. Coba minus. Let's say we use P0 and P1 ya. 1x dx. P0 is 1. 1 P1x is equals 0 if orthogonal. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 1 P1x x dx squared over 2 from minus 1 to 1. Setengah kurang setengah 0 orthogonal.
Okay.
Yes.
What about the remaining?
Huh?
What about the remaining? Without integrating it explicitly like that, any way to do it?
Guys, any ideas?
Yeah, without having to integrate it explicitly, yeah. That one is explicit integration. Huh? What? No. Why do you always do that?
Like one factor. Okay.
That is dot product.
This is that from interval I.
Because it has a different function because product it.
Not necessarily, yeah.
Well,
Different function you dot product. Yeah, if it is 0, then they are orthogonal, of course. But not any function you integrate.
Semuanya belum masuk.
Orthogonal. Okay, now you observe. P0, is it even or odd function?
is zero even or odd?
Even
Function. How do you know if it's even?
because it's like this x
Zero?
Yeah, like that. Yeah. So it is
symmetrical in
symmetric
y-axis.
about y-axis. Okay. P1x, even or
It's
odd?
Odd.
Or multiplier with
No, I mean P1x, is it even or odd? Odd, yeah, because it is symmetric about the origin. Okay. Now you observe any function that is symmetric about the origin, you integrate from -1 to 1 or -2 to 2, the result is always 0 for odd function. When it is symmetric about the origin, yeah, the odd function, you integrate from -1 to 1, result is always 0. Sine function is like that also, huh?
So
Okay.
this is because it is even times odd, it becomes
Odd.
odd.
Yes.
So that is -1 to 1 always 0.
Yes.
Something like that.
to prove that it's orthogonal. The function is
No.
No.
Not like
kalau dia odd to zero, it is orthogonal.
yeah, you see when they are P0 and P1 is one is odd, one is even, right? You integrate it, it becomes 0. Okay, you multiply, you integrate, becomes 0. Yeah, because the even times odd becomes odd, you integrate, becomes 0 from -1 to 1. Okay, that is 0 and 1. And then also 1 and 2 is also like that. Yes. Okay, that's one thing. Without integrating, so we know that this is orthogonal.
If we multiply it, it becomes odd, then itu pasti orthogonal.
Yeah, it has to be. Okay. But when you multiply even and even, you have what? Even function. Even function. Okay. So does it mean that when you have even function, you integrate it also non-zero in that case? If it is even function, integrate between -1 to 1, will you get 0 or non-zero?
Non-zero.
If it is non-zero, then it is not orthogonal.
I mean 0.
You see,
It is 0 then.
For even
no,
I think-
I'm saying for odd function, you integrate from -1 to 1, the result is 0.
Yeah.
But for even function, it is not necessarily.
But it could be 0, but it doesn't have.
It has not. For this case, even and even, you integrate, has to be 0 because of the orthogonality.
Oh, okay.
You see?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. For this case, because orthogonal series for the genre, yeah, P0 and P2, they are even, right? Okay, you multiply, become even. But when you integrate, the result has to be 0 because they are orthogonal. All right. You can move on.
Yeah, this is the discuss nggak, Mak? Nggak bisa.
I think you can continue to the Fourier transform.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically the Fourier transform, the definition. So Fourier transform takes a function. Wait. I'll put on this. Yeah. Hey. So basically, definition of Fourier transform is that you take a function as an input, let's say fx, and then produce another function that shows the frequencies present in the original function. So you take the Fourier transform of this function, it will present you the strong notation. Wrong notation. It will present you with a function that shows the frequency. So, the what? Like Laplace.
That's the symbol for Fourier.
Oh, this is a Fourier function. This is the notation that we use if we want to like transform the function. This is the notation that we use that when it is already a Fourier transform. Mana sih? Okay, so here's the example of Fourier transform. Here we have a sound, basically recorded in a time domain. So time domain. So, basically taking the transform of time domain, it becomes the frequency. So we can know the frequency of the sound produced. It's 0 until this much. Let's say we only want to keep, let's say it's this sound function is a music, right? And this music has frequency. We can get the frequency from the Fourier transform. This frequency is low. Let's say this is the bass, the guitar, and frequency is getting bigger here. Let's say this is the, I don't know, trumpet or something. Continue. Yes, not necessarily. Yeah.
Before
No,
we go to the
there's-
next slide, wait. That figure on the right side, do you know how we get that figure? Is it through Fourier transform?
I don't think so. I don't think it is like pure Fourier transform. I think it's
What
either
is it?
FFT or DFT something.
Yeah, it is through the fast Fourier transform. Yeah, FFT. FFT is fast Fourier transform. So it is developed from the Fourier transform that we will discuss here. Okay. The one that we will discuss here is the theoretical Fourier
Yeah.
transform. This one is getting through numerical approach. Numerical approach, not numerical approach. Nume. Numerical approach.
So when I say not necessarily, because it's either we usually use these two, fx or ft, to be transformed to the frequency domain. This is the space, yeah, x space. We can get the spatial frequency. Spatial frequency. Hertz. This is the, if we were to transform time function, we get the angular frequency. So, but I think for this class we only use the fx. In this course we will work on spatial. Different, in my opinion. I think the method is the same, just but to differ we use different notation lah. Yeah, can be seen. So, oh yeah, the method to do Fourier transform is we use this formula 1 over square root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity fx. Fx is the function that we want to change, to transform, I mean, e to the minus I omega x dx. We use this. This formula is fixed. So,
Okay, I think it's better to discuss something before go to the next slide. When you see the previous slide, the time domain data in there. The data we have in there is from what time until what time in that? 0.0.6. So let's say we have that as the fx. To get the Fourier transform of it, we have to integrate from minus infinity to plus infinity.
yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Yeah, but we only have the data from 0 to 0.0.6.
I think it just means that the integral converges. Like this is 0, this is infinity, this is 0.6. I think yeah, the graph gitu.
Yeah, if we really do that, that means from minus infinity to 0, we have 0.
That's
Yeah,
infinity.
and then from 0.6 to infinity, we have nothing. Yeah, so that means
Nothing.
yes. So from minus infinity to 0, nothing. Okay, that's 0. We get 0 only. Okay, so that's how we do it. Okay. Meanwhile, if let's say we have fx equal to sine of x or cosine of x. Yeah, cosine of x, let's say cosine of x. The cosine of x is an analytical function, not coming from the measurement. What will be the integral that we will get? You think? Integral of cosine from minus infinity to plus infinity. What will be the result?
0.
Why is it?
I don't know. Cos.
Integral of
cosine.
cosine.
Cosine. So you're saying like minus infinity to infinity sine x gitu.
Yes.
Integral sine minus cosine. Minus cosine x. Infinity.
Now we have the e to the power of I omega x.
Oh,
not
you
just
mean
the
the Fourier?
yes.
Oh, then
The Fourier.
we use integration by parts.
Yeah. So you know when we integrate that, we cannot get a value. The value will be infinity.
Oh,
Okay.
ya absolute integrability maksudnya.
Yes.
Okay.
The absolute integrability
Ada
is not achieved for sine and cosine
Ah,
as an analytical function.
lagi.
Okay.
Nah, yeah, this is
Yeah,
what
it comes to
Sarjati
this.
is saying.
Okay.
So these are the requirements for function to be able to be transformed using Fourier transform. Requirementnya ini.
Apa itu?
So if we do the 1 over square root 2 pi. So let me do the ini dulu. So for Fourier series, this is the requirement because it's only from interval a to b for jelek banget interval a to b. For Fourier series, the requirement for it to be able to be approximated by Fourier series is this: fx dx must be less than infinity. But for Fourier transform, we are going to use integral minus infinity to infinity. Fx, the absolute value of fx, dx must be less than infinity. This is the requirement. Every function,
Iya, it's less than. Is there some?
every function, sine nggak bisa. Coba move on. So this is the requirement. So find the Fourier transform of fx ux minus a. Fx ux minus a. So if we, do you think what's the answer to this?
It's a step function.
Yeah, step function. Any idea, guys? This for requirement of ft. This is requirement for Fourier series.
Does it satisfy the requirement for the absolute integrability or not? The step function.
Yo, gimana? Actually, you don't need to check it using this. Fx equals ux minus a. No, because the fx is simple. The function is simple. Ux minus a, meaning that it turns on at a. Right? It turns on. The value become 1 at a until at a it's 0, x 0, 0. If a is 0, at a it's 1. Loh, unit step function lupa. ux minus 5. At 5 dia kembang, apa dia naik. Sorry. So no, it cannot be Fourier transform because x is going to infinity and it will go 1 all the time until x to infinity, unless you have like fx equals ux minus a minus ux minus b, let's say ux minus a ux minus b, so the function will become a, it's going to be 1, and at b it will stop because it's minus. Stop. So the integral, if we integral from infinity minus infinity to infinity, it will just become this.
Oh, okay. Get it.
But when we integral this minus infinity to infinity, well, from minus infinity to a, dia bakal 0. To a from a to infinity, it will become infinity dong, because it will keep going in the area.
The function needs to stop somewhere.
Yeah, converge itu ya, converge, stop somewhere, converge, not diverge. Any question? Kok kayak bingung kenapa?
Saya ulang aja.
Ulang. So integral apa integral? What is the definition of integral? It's the area under the curve, right? Under the curve. So the area under the curve of this function, the absolute value of this function from minus infinity to infinity, must be less than infinity in order to be able to do Fourier transform. So ux minus a at a until infinity, it becomes 1. So dia nggak stop. Stop pas kapan? Ya, berarti the area under the curve will continue until infinity, sampai terus. Kalau kita ux minus a, if we have ux minus a minus ux minus b per se. Yes. So ux minus a minus ux minus b, it will stop at b. If we integrate it from minus infinity to infinity, area under the curve cuma segini doang, finite. Oh ini kan sampai sono. Iya. Ya D. Nggak bisa. Oke. Iya. Di jam segini, Cok. So, okay. Move on. Same as Laplace transform, we also have the Fourier transform. So, the Fourier transform of fx, it becomes the this f omega, representing the frequency, right? If we were to Fourier transform inverse the function f omega, the frequency, it becomes the fx again. Simple as that. So the formula for the inverse Fourier transform is basically like this, but it has no minus. So this is the inverse. I think there will be no inverse questions on the homework.
There is no minus, right, in the power.
Huh?
We don't
No, I mean, sorry. So if it's Fourier transform, it has minus. If it's inverse, it doesn't have minus. Okay. So if it's inverse, it doesn't have minus.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are several properties that Fourier transform have, which is the linearity, as can be seen here. If you have Fourier transform of AF plus BG, you can, where A and B is constant, you can move out and move the A to out. Take the A out. Harus should I itu? Yeah, write it for you. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. Same as Laplace. Yeah, A and B here is constant. We can take it out, and F and G is actually a function. So we can do Fourier transform of fx by say fx plus Fourier transform of gx. Ya, kayak Laplace lah. So theorem 2 is also same as Laplace basically. Theorem 2 is the same as Laplace, basically saying that Fourier transform of f, let's say x, is equals to I omega Fourier transforms f x, saying it like that. So let's say we want to do Fourier transform of differential function, first order differential function. We can do it like this, I omega, and it goes to like n. Or so let's say if it is double prime second order derivation, we can do like this, omega pangkat 2 third omega pangkat 3 gitu. I omega is the frequency, I is just imaginary. So it's basically saying that this, if you want to Fourier transform differential function, let's say f pangkat n x equals I omega at n f shit, like this. So if n is 1, like f petik x, f prime x, it's going to be like I omega, and then continue. If it's like, let's say n is 3, so third order differential equation fx omega, that we can use this form, same as Laplace basically. Any question? Questions? No, okay, lanjut. Convolution, move on to the next slide aja. Yeah. So for convolution, there will be no convolution in homeworks and exam, I guess, but just for completeness, yeah. So the convolution, Fourier transform of convolution f star g, let's say, is the square root 2 pi times the Fourier transform of f times the Fourier transform of g. Basically just saying that. Okay. Square root of 2 pi. It's a fixed formula.
Where is it?
Yes, should be from there. Should be. I don't know until I derive it. I derive it from the beginning, then maybe I will know the answer. But let's just, yeah kan? Yeah. So I cannot say some random things to convince you, because I don't know. Okay. Okay, continue. Continue. So from number 26 until 30 is basically Fourier transform that we got in the homework. Do you want me to finish it all here? Or? So fx-nya berapa? Negative L to L x L lebih besar daripada 0 is bigger than 0. So it's basically saying that from interval minus L to L it is 1. Yes. Yeah. Because this is a notation, like if we say it is e to the power of x, then from interval minus L to L there will be e to the x. the function of x will be e to the x from in the interval of minus L, L. And this is x just like this. So it's basically following the in front of the chai, not behind the chai.
The value in front of
So basically like minus L to L 1. Okay. Any apa? Singgahan apa? Maksudnya? Do you all agree? Objections? Huh? Yes. Okay. So find the Fourier transform. Let's just do it, yeah. Fourier transform of f(x) equals to 1 over square root 2 pi minus infinity to infinity of chi minus L, L x dx.
Where is the e?
Where
E,
is
I,
the
omega.
Sorry, e to the minus I omega x times e to the minus I omega x dx. 1 over square root 2 pi. So since it is from minus L to L, as I graphed before, we can change the integrand for minus L to L. So the chi is gone, 1. Okay. E to the minus I omega x dx. So we integrate this. E to the ax integral is equals to 1 over a e to the ax, right? Minus I omega e to the minus I omega x minus L to L, right? So it's equals to 1 over 2 pi minus 1 over I omega e to the minus I omega L minus e to the minus I omega minus L. Yes, which is going to be I omega L ya. I omega L. Okay. Do we have it or no ya? Okay. So this is basically the form, but we need to change it to sign. So we're gonna use the Euler formula. So here in my steps here, we times it by square root 2 over 2. So it becomes like square root 2 times 2. Square root 2 times square root 2 is 2. Square root 2 pi del pi times I omega over omega e to the minus I omega L. Huh? Wait, let me explain later lah. L over 2. So E becomes here. And the minus is going to kayaknya harusnya nggak nulis di sini deh. The minus is going to because I change it.
Okay.
Change dibalik to I-nya pindah ke sini dibalik. Because this will become sign. This will, if you look at the Euler's formula, what is the formula? Wait, I don't have it in the. I also kind of forget. Oh, iya.
This one.
Iya. No. Here. Hah?
Yeah.
Oh iya sama. Ya udah boleh. No. I think you got it wrong. Sin ini nggak mungkin sin X dong. Sin
Oh yeah.
L omega 6. L omega.
Oh, dari tahu.
Ada. I omega L. Ya, di itunya ada. Di form itu formnya gimana? Oh, sin X ini ya. Cos e to the ix minus e to the minus ix to I. So this is the general Euler formula, and we get it right here. Like in this case, it's sin L omega. Dari mana?
First presentation.
Euler's made this.
Dari you.
You presented. So if we combine all the stuff, square root 2 pi times this becomes sine ya. This become this I mean sine L omega over omega sini. Ada nggak sih? Oh ada. A dong.
EC.
See, bro, see.
Yes. Apanya? I don't know. I calculated this myself, so
Okay, the answer is number C.
it's A ya.
C, yes.
The answer is C.
C.
Benar ini.
Oh C, iya benar.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
you said earlier the answer is not C.
C.
Oh.
The answer is
So the 27th question, fx same chai A to B. What do you think is the answer?
Nomor 2 hilang.
Hah?
Hilang.
A. Are you sure?
Oh,
It's actually A.
bener kan?
So yeah, because it's minus like this is minus squared minus I omega L minus I omega L positive. Ini minus, ini positif. Always we rotate the term, so it becomes like this.
okay. Be aware lah for the indicator function ya. So,
Yeah.
so if you find out the indicator function in the exam, it will be easier because you know the pattern. Fourier transform for the indicator function.
Yeah, 27 the same lah. Oh, but it's from A to B. It's from minus L to L. The same lah. Okay. So 29. 29 is B.
You're just guessing.
Cobain.
Oke.
You're just guessing.
No, I think it's just guessing.
Kalau tadi gue bener.
Okay.
Raffi, just write down the integral equation. Let them calculate the
anjing.
integral on their own.
Okay. minus I omega x lah, dx. So do you know what ux mean? Do you know what ux is? Ux e to the power of x ux. Step function. Basically ux minus 0, right? E to the power of minus x. So e to the minus of x will start at 0. So from 0 to infinity. E to the minus x. Ya pokoknya gini, I don't know, gini mungkin. So from 0 to infinity. Okay? Huh? Because e to the minus x times ux. Ux is a step function. Ux basically ux minus 0, right? So ux minus a, it starts at a. S minus 0 start from 0 to infinity. Okay. So the integrand will change 0 to infinity. E to the minus x, e to the minus I omega x dx. So these two can be written like e to the minus x plus minus I omega x, and then you solve the integral.
Okay, you can compute the integral on your own lah.
Okay.
Which is why there is a term of I plus I omega in that, because we take out the x, you will have 1 plus I omega.
So the same as Laplace transform, Fourier transform also has the table. You can check it on the
table
book.
for Fourier transform also, yeah.
So e to the last question. Fx equals 1 over square root 2 pi e to the minus x squared over 2. First, find the Fourier transform. We can use the table immediately. E to the minus x squared over 2. Here in the table, wait, let me search. Here, e to the minus omega squared over 2. Maju Michelle. So, yeah, e to the minus omega squared over 2 is the like df of e to the minus x squared over 2 gitu loh. So the answer is 1 over square root 2 v a, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so you can close the class.
Thank you. Jangan pencet next lagi.
Close the session first. Close the session.
Thank you guys.
In the middle lah.
Huh?
In the middle. You are not in the camera.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.